It is the 5th of September, 2014. People of Yes interview Dr. George Patterson on the role of consultants in church planting movements. Dr. Patterson, this morning I have just one question for you. Could you illustrate from the New Testament the role of the church planting, disciple-making consultant and describe for us a little bit of the current ministry that the Lord has given to you?
Dr. Kerr, you and quite a few others are doing the very same thing I do, and most of us, we're up in years now, we got a lot of experience, and that's why we are able to mentor others or serve as a consultant. I think this is a role that is very strategic, and I think of the Apostle Paul when he was in prison. And people went to him to get his advice, to receive his mentoring. Now, I have kept in touch with different seminary professors that are teaching missions. And with extremely few exceptions, they go over the history of missions. They deal with it in an abstract way. Most of them deal with the right New Testament principles, but the way they do it is in an institutional setting, in an analytical way that does not transfer into these church planting movements. And the missionaries they train, the great vast majority, are unable to produce these large-scale movements for Christ. Now, I don't mean to be critical with them. That's not my point here. I was wearing those shoes for many years myself. What I am saying that when you look at the principles that really the God uses to bring about movements, there's very few people that know how to put them into practice without working them mechanically. If you simply learn the principles and try to do A, B, C, and then God is obligated to bless your ministry because you've done what the New Testament says, that does not work. And so there's a few of us who have seen it happen, who brought it about, who have enabled others to do it, and it's a combination of the Holy Spirit's spontaneous work and a good, solid, scholarly application of the tried and proven principles. They're all from the New Testament. They've all been confirmed by church history.
Give us a biblical example of one who was a church planting, disciple-making consultant.
Well, the Apostle Paul, when he was in prison, wrote these tremendous letters, epistles, and he would not have done that if he had been in another context. And I think it's very important that we realize the role of people who do have a lot of experience and who have seen movements happen, and they know how to bring them about with God's help, and we should be listening to them instead of listening to popular speakers.
Well, Dr. Patterson, there are some clergymen who visit the mission field sincerely hoping to advance the kingdom. What are some of the mistakes that they make?
I know a lot of pastors that are very popular and have large congregations. They will go over to the mission field and draw huge numbers of people to hear their messages, and yet they introduce an institutional approach to church that just kills church planting movements. They introduce a pulpit-centered ministry that eclipses other gift-based ministries. I really shudder when I see them do it, and so many do this, and they mean well. They're godly men. Oh my, the damage that does, and they don't realize it. They almost invariably introduce an institutional approach to the Christian faith. They also introduce a pulpit-centered type monologue sermonizing ministry that is death to a church planting movement. Both of these require large gatherings. Both of them are counter to the type of churches we find in the New Testament and in the first 3 centuries of church history. Now, these were tiny house churches, but they were clusters of house churches that were very closely knit. Some people call them rabbit churches that multiply rapidly.
If anyone would like to talk with you further, where could they contact you?
Go to the link that's provided under the description under this video.
God bless you today.
God bless you.